This is our diesel propane, or our propane injection system to a diesel engine. It's digitally controlled. If you want to look down in here, this is where it all goes down. This here is our regulator and our solenoid, which is connected in through the transistor to the pick, which activates at several set states whether to flow propane, and judged on the boost pressure which comes into the regulator here, it'll flow different amounts of propane into the engine. You can see through here, this is our pressure sensor that reads the boost pressure of the engine. It'll tell whether or not to inject propane based on if the throttle's pushed down and if it's generating any boost. And you guys wanna...
One thing that the regulator does, it's actually a bias regulator, so it's set up with 3 ports. It's got a propane in, a propane out, and then it's actually got a port set up for atmospheric pressure. What that does is it allows you variance in the amount of pressure you're putting out. So basically, if that port is just set at atmospheric pressure, that regulator is going to output 25 psi of whatever's flowing through it. Well, what we did to give it a variance is we actually ran this boost line here into that port. So what it does is, say the truck's outputting 20 psi of boost, that regulator will add 20 plus 25 psi, so it'll actually be putting 55 psi into the engine. So it gives you a little bit more of a basically a fueling curve on it.
We have everything displaying on our LCD screen. You can flip through the menu using this button here, or this switch. It'll change between boost temperature, and it'll show whether the ignition is on or off, which is the switch on the throttle. And then this is where our thermocouple comes in. It goes through this amplifier and then goes through the pick. The pick reads the EGT. The boost pressure sensor comes in right here, goes into the pick, and these two are both read using ADC.
Mechatronics project.
As we accelerate, we're going to increase in boost pressure. So once it hits a certain set point of about 15 psi, it'll check all the other states, make sure the throttle's depressed, and make sure that the exhaust gas temperature isn't too hot. And if all those states are met, then it'll send a high to the solenoid valve, click it open, and it'll start injecting propane into the engine.
This light signifies when the propane is on and flowing. So when the propane is injected, the boost gauge over on the pillar will read about between 10 and 15 psi. As soon as the propane's injected, it's going to increase up to like 25 to 30 psi, almost instantaneous.